All right. So have you had that feeling lately? Like you're just meant for more,
Oh, yeah.
whether it's, exploring a hidden passion or maybe just wanting more flexibility
Sure.
or even just seeing if you can make your talents pay off in a whole new way.
Mm,
A lot of people are turning to side hustles these days.
for sure.
And we've got a stack of insights from some seriously popular personal finance YouTubers. So we're going to break it all down for you in this deep dive.
I love it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So first off, it seems like everyone and their grandma has a side hustle these days, right?
Right.
But why is that?
Well, I think a lot of people, even those with, those quote unquote dream jobs, they're still feeling like something's missing,
Yeah, like they're not using all their skills or all their passions.
Right, exactly. Like they thought they'd be more fulfilled or have more freedom.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. And a side hustle can be a really good way to test the waters, you know?
Yeah, without the risk.
Yeah. Like without quitting your job, you
Yeah.
can kind of explore new possibilities
Yeah.
and see if it's something you really want to pursue.
That safety net.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So let's say you're ready to dive in. Where do you even begin?
So Nisha from the Nisha YouTube channel, she has a great framework for this.
Oh, I like her videos.
Yeah, she's great. So she talks about finding your sweet spot, okay? And that's basically where your skills and passions meet what the market actually needs.
Oh, that's a good point. It can't just be something you love.
Right?
Right.
Right. It has to be something people will actually pay for.
Exactly.
So she recommends using Simon Sinek's Golden Circle framework as a starting point.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Have you? Yeah. So it's not just about what you're offering, but why you're doing it.
Right. It's that whole start with why thing.
Exactly. Like, what's your purpose? What's your driving force? So once you have that, then you can figure out how, like, what's your unique approach?
It's like how you're going to do it differently.
Exactly. And then what the actual service or product you'll offer.
So it all starts with the why. Makes sense. But let's be real for a second. Passion's great and all. But can you actually make money with this idea?
Right. That's the million-dollar question.
Literally.
So that's where market research comes in.
Like, is there actually a demand for this?
Exactly. Nisha calls it proof of concept. Like, are other people already making money in this space?
If they are, that's a good sign.
Exactly. It means there's a market for it.
Okay, so it's not enough to just love something. You need to see if there's a need for it, too.
Right. Like, is anyone going to buy it?
Makes sense. And what if your first idea doesn't work out?
Oh, yeah. That's a great point. So Nisha really emphasizes that your first side hustle doesn't have to be the one.
Okay.
It's okay to experiment,
Yeah.
Take calculated risks.
Like you don't have to quit your job and bet the farm on your first try.
Exactly. You can stumble a bit, even fail a little.
And that's okay.
It is. Your current job gives you the space to do that.
Yeah, that's true. It takes some pressure off.
It does. It really does.
So you don't have to have everything perfectly figured out right from the start.
Exactly.
I like that. So you've got your idea, you've done your research, you've figured out your why. How do you actually monetize it?
Right. Like, how do you turn that passion into a paycheck?
Exactly.
So Nisha breaks it down into 3 approaches.
Okay, I'm listening.
Done for you, done with you, and do it yourself.
Okay, those sound interesting. Let's unpack those a bit.
All right, let's do it. So done for you, that's pretty straightforward. You're directly using your skills to provide a service.
Okay.
Like freelance writing, graphic design, virtual assistant work.
So like you said, you're doing it for them.
Right.
Seems like that's a good way to get started quickly.
It is, especially if you need to see some income right away.
Right. If you need cash flow.
But it does have a downside. You're limited by the number of hours you can work.
Oh, yeah. Sure. So it's kind of trading time for money.
Yeah, it is. Unless you hire help.
Which is a whole other thing.
Yeah, it adds complexity and cost.
That's true.
Okay.
But what about the second approach? Done with you.
So this one is about guiding and supporting clients,
Okay.
like through consulting or coaching.
So instead of doing the work for them, you're helping them do it themselves.
Right, exactly. You're leveraging your expertise to help others achieve their goals.
I could see how that would be more scalable.
It can be.
Mhm.
Because you're not directly tied to completing tasks.
But you're still trading your time in a way.
You are. But you can charge more for your time.
Yeah, because you're sharing your expertise.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. What about do it yourself?
So this is all about creating products or content that can generate passive income.
Passive income. That's the dream.
It is for a lot of people. So think online courses, ebooks, even building a YouTube channel.
Like the creators we're discussing.
Exactly.
So you create it once, and it keeps making you money.
Ideally, that's the goal.
But it probably takes a lot of upfront effort, right?
It does. It can take a lot of time and energy.
To create that thing.
Exactly. And sometimes even money.
To create those initial products or content.
Yeah. And it might take longer to see that passive income rolling in.
Yeah. So it's like building an asset that'll pay off later.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
So it sounds like each approach has its own pros and cons.
It does, for sure.
And it's about figuring out which one aligns best with your goals.
Yeah.
And how much time and energy you're willing to invest.
And your skills.
Right.
It's all about finding the right fit.
Okay, so you found your sweet spot.
Yeah.
You know how you're going to monetize it. Now let's talk money.
Okay. Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Exactly. Like the financial planning side of things.
All right. So first things first. What's your ultimate goal?
With the side hustle.
Yeah. Do you want to eventually replace your current income and go full-time?
That's the dream for a lot of people.
It is. But if so, you need to crunch the numbers and figure out how much you need to earn to maintain your current lifestyle.
Right. You have to make at least as much as you're making now.
At least. And don't forget about things like health insurance, retirement contributions.
Oh, yeah. All those benefits you get from your job.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's more than just matching your salary.
It is. You need to factor in all those extra costs.
That's a really good point. And speaking of costs, budgeting is key, right?
It is. If you're serious about making this work, you need to know where your money's going.
So you can free up funds to invest in your side hustle.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about the exciting stuff, like finding your passion and making money. But let's talk about the not so glamorous side of self-employment.
Okay. The reality check.
Exactly. Luckily, Jessica Morehouse, another YouTuber, she's not afraid to get real about it.
Yeah, she keeps it real.
She gives us a much-needed reality check.
For sure, because self-employment isn't always sunshine and roses.
Okay, so let's talk about the downsides. What are some things Jessica highlights?
Well, one of the biggest ones is the loss of employer benefits.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Things like health insurance, retirement contributions, even paid time off.
Yeah, it's easy to take those for granted.
It is, until you don't have.
And then you're like, oh, wait, I need to pay for all this myself now.
Exactly, and it can get really expensive.
Especially health insurance.
Yeah, especially in the U.S.
It can be a huge financial burden.
It really can. And then there's retirement. You're not getting that employer match anymore.
Free money.
Exactly. So you have to be a lot more proactive about saving for retirement.
Okay, so that's the financial side. What about the emotional challenges of self-employment?
Oh, yeah. Those are real, too. So Jessica talks about the isolation that can come with working for yourself.
Yeah, you're not going into an office every day.
Right. You're not interacting with colleagues.
You can get lonely.
You can. And then there's the pressure of being responsible for everything yourself.
You're the boss, the marketer, the accountant, the customer service rep.
It's a lot to handle.
Sounds like it. But let's not get too discouraged here. What about the upsides of being your own boss?
Oh, there are definitely some amazing perks.
Like what?
Well, the flexibility is huge. You get to set your own schedule work when and where you want.
Yeah, no more commuting.
Exactly. And you can create a work-life balance that actually works for you.
Right, because you're in control. And you're generally more satisfied with your work.
Yeah, because you're pursuing your passion. You're building something you believe in.
Yeah, and there's no limit to your income potential.
Right. No corporate ceilings holding you back. You can earn as much as you're willing to work for.
Okay, that all sounds amazing. But another YouTuber, Apprentice Diary, they bring up a really important point.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It's easy to get so focused on the potential income and freedom that we underestimate the value the benefits our employers provide.
Yeah. They remind us to think about the real cost of those benefits.
If we had to pay for them ourselves.
Exactly. Like health insurance, retirement contributions, paid time off.
They all add up to a lot more than we realize.
They really do. It's often much more than we think.
Until we actually have to pay for it.
Exactly.
And they shared a really eye-opening story about their experience giving birth in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. The hospital bill was crazy.
Like $27,000.
It was insane. Thankfully, they had good insurance.
Yeah, through their employer and spouse.
So they didn't have to pay anything out of pocket.
But it really made them appreciate those benefits.
It did. And how easily things could go wrong without them.
Yeah, that's a good reminder. So it's not just about comparing your side hustle income to your current salary.
Right. It's about looking at the whole picture.
And weighing the pros and cons carefully.
Exactly. Because there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
That makes sense. So are you saying we should never quit our jobs to pursue our dreams?
Not at all. It's about being strategic and making sure you're fully prepared before making that leap.
So what are some things to keep in mind if you are considering going full-time?
So Apprentice Diary suggests having at least a year's worth of expenses saved up,
Okay.
or a solid fallback plan.
Like a supportive partner with a stable income,
Exactly.
especially if you have a family who depends on you.
Right. It's not just about you anymore.
So quitting without a plan can be really risky.
It can. It really can.
All right, so you've got your savings, you've got your plan B. What else should we be watching out for?
Well, even if your side hustle income seems comparable to your salary, it's not always an apples to apples comparison.
We mean,
Well, as a business owner, you're responsible for paying self-employment taxes.
oh, right.
Yeah.
Both the employer and employee portions.
Exactly. When you have a regular job, your employer covers half of that.
I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, it's easy to overlook.
And you have to cover all those other expenses too.
Yeah, like health insurance, retirement savings, all that stuff.
Plus, business income can be unpredictable.
Very true. It can fluctuate from month to month.
You don't have that steady paycheck anymore.
Right, so even if you're bringing in a decent amount, it's important to have a realistic understanding of how much is actually profit.
After all those expenses and taxes.
Right, so you need to be really mindful of your finances.
Okay, so we've talked about going full-time. What if someone just wants to explore their passions or earn some extra cash?
That's totally valid. There are a lot of benefits to starting a side hustle while keeping your current job.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, you can test the waters without taking on too much risk.
Right, because you still have that steady paycheck coming in.
Exactly. So you can see if your idea has legs, you know?
Like if it's actually viable.
Right. And you can start generating income without having to rely on it for your livelihood.
You can kind of ease into it.
Yeah. And you can gradually build your side hustle while you continue to learn and grow in your current job.
That makes a lot of sense. So you're kind of diversifying your income streams.
Yeah. And building a safety net for the future.
Apprentice Diary actually shared that they still enjoy their current job
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
because it aligns with their values and keeps them connected to the tech world.
Right. They're strategically balancing their full-time career with their side hustles.
It sounds like they've found that sweet spot.
They have,
Yeah.
between pursuing their passions and maintaining stability.
I like that approach a lot. So it's not always about quitting your job.
Nope. It's about finding what works best for you and your individual circumstances.
That's a great point. And sometimes the smartest move isn't the most obvious one.
Right. Sometimes it's better to play the long game.
Yeah. Okay, well, I feel like we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
We talked about finding your sweet spot monetization strategies, the pros and cons of self-employment, and the importance of being financially prepared.
And we've highlighted some real-life examples.
From successful YouTubers who are out there doing it.
Exactly. They're living proof that it's possible.
So I hope you're feeling inspired and informed, but we're not done yet.
There's more to come.
We'll be exploring specific side hustle ideas in the next part of our deep dive.
And we'll talk about how to balance a side hustle with your full-time job.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break.
See you soon.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the world of side hustles.
I'm ready for more.
Me too. I'm excited to dig deeper into some of the strategies these YouTubers have used themselves.
Yeah, it's one thing to hear the general advice.
But it's even better to see how people have actually made it work in real life.
For sure. Like, what are their secrets?
Exactly. So speaking of real-life examples, Apprentice Diary shared a really interesting story about how they bought their first investment property using a strategy called house hacking.
Oh, yeah, that was fascinating.
For those who aren't familiar, can you explain what house hacking is?
Sure. So house hacking is basically when you buy a property
Okay.
and you live in one part of it,
Okay.
and then you rent out the other parts to help cover your mortgage payments.
Oh, that's smart.
It is. It's a great way to get into real estate investing.
Without a huge down payment.
Exactly.
But there's a catch, right?
There is. So to qualify for the loan, Apprentice Diary had to prove that they had 2 years of stable income and employment.
Oh, so they had to have a job.
Yeah, a regular job.
That's interesting. It highlights how important that job stability can be.
It really does. Not just for your current situation, but for future opportunities too.
Yeah. Like sometimes the less glamorous path
Like sticking with your job for a while.
can actually be the smartest move,
In the long run.
especially if it helps you reach those bigger goals,
Exactly.
like buying an investment property.
Yeah, or starting a business.
So it's about playing the long game,
It is.
making sure you're not sacrificing your future for short-term gains.
You got it.
And I think Apprentice Diary's story also highlights another important factor, the stability of a regular paycheck.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
It's easy to take it for granted.
It is. Until you don't have it.
Exactly. But knowing how much you'll earn each month, makes budgeting and planning so much easier.
It really does. Especially when you're first starting out with a side hustle.
You have that reliable income stream.
That gives you a sense of security.
Yeah, and you can feel more confident about taking risks with your side hustle.
Right, because you know you have that steady income to fall back on.
But when you quit your job and become your own boss, that predictability can vanish pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. It can be a real roller coaster.
1 month you're making bank, the next month you're scraping by.
That's the reality of self-employment.
And that unpredictability can be stressful,
It can, for sure.
financially and emotionally.
It's a valid concern.
So having that financial cushion, like Apprentice Diaries suggested, is crucial.
Absolutely.
Having an emergency fund can give you that breathing room
You need it to navigate those ups and downs.
without panicking.
Exactly.
And it's not just about having cash on hand.
Right.
It's about having systems in place to manage your income and expenses.
Yeah, you need a budget.
You got to track your cash flow.
And be mindful of your spending,
Right.
especially when your income is fluctuating.
All good advice.
Huh?
Now, here's something that really resonated with me.
Okay, what's that?
Apprentice Diary talked about how easy it is to get fixated on our salary
Uh-huh.
and forget about all the other benefits our jobs offer,
Yeah,
like health insurance and retirement contributions.
right. We might think, okay, my side hustle is bringing in as much as my job, so I'm ready to quit.
Right. But that's not the whole picture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It overlooks all those other important factors. It's like comparing apples to oranges.
A salary is just one piece of the puzzle.
That's right. You need to factor in the value of those additional benefits.
Like, what kinds of benefits are we talking about?
So things like health insurance,
Yeah, that's a big one.
retirement plans,
Paid time off.
even professional development opportunities.
All that stuff can really add up,
It can. And it can significantly impact your financial well-being.
not to mention your quality of life.
Right.
I'll be honest, I never really thought about those benefits as part of my compensation before.
I think a lot of people don't.
It's easy to just focus on the take-home pay.
It is. But those benefits can be worth a lot.
Like, how much are we talking about?
Well, let's say someone earns a $60,000 salary.
Okay.
A 5% 401k match alone is worth $3,000 per year.
Okay.
Then factor in things like 3 weeks of paid time off, health insurance premiums, potential bonuses.
Yep.
Their total compensation might be 20% to 30% higher than their base salary.
Wow. That's a lot more than I would have guessed.
It is. It really puts things into perspective.
It does. And it's not just about the money either.
Right.
It's about the peace of mind that comes with having those benefits.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
knowing you have access to quality health care.
Yeah. And that you're saving for retirement
And that you can take time off when you need it.
without losing income.
It makes a big difference.
So it sounds like we need to consider the whole picture,
We do. We really do.
not just the salary.
It's about understanding the true value of your current job.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, job security and stability are more valuable than ever these days.
They are. Especially with so much uncertainty in the economy.
And the job market can be really competitive.
It can. Finding a new job that offers comparable benefits can be tough.
It can take a long time.
And it can be really stressful.
So even if you're feeling confident about your side hustle,
It's smart to have a plan B,
just in case.
right? Just in case things don't work out as planned.
Okay, so we've talked about being financially prepared before quitting your job.
Yeah.
But what if someone's happy in their current role and just wants to dip their toes into the world of side hustles?
That's great. There are a lot of benefits to starting small.
Like what?
Well, you can test your ideas without taking on too much financial risk.
Right. You still have that safety net of your job.
Exactly.
You can see if your side hustle is something you actually enjoy doing.
Yeah, and if it's something that has the potential to grow.
And you can gradually build it up over time.
You don't have to go all in right away.
Okay, so you're saying it's better to start small.
It can be. It's a more sustainable approach.
And it's less likely to lead to burnout.
That's right.
But even if you're starting small,
Mm-hmm.
balancing a side hustle with a full-time job can still be tough.
It can be.
Any tips for managing your time effectively?
Well, time management is key.
Of course.
Apprentice Diary recommends blocking out specific times in your schedule for your side hustle.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's about treating it like any other important appointment,
You got to show up consistently.
even if it's just for an hour or two each day.
So you're not just squeezing it in whenever you have a free moment.
Right. You need to make it a priority.
Okay. And what about saying no to things?
That's huge. Learning to say no can free up so much time and energy.
Yeah, that's a tough one for a lot of people.
It is, but it's essential.
Because if you try to do everything,
You'll end up burning yourself out.
Okay, so you've got a handle on your time management.
Yeah.
You're feeling good about your side hustle.
Uh-huh.
What else can you do to set yourself up for success?
So Apprentice Diary really emphasizes the importance of building systems and processes
Okay.
that can help your side hustle run smoothly.
Like what kind of systems are we talking about?
So it could be something as simple as creating a standard operating procedure,
A what?
an SOP, a standard operating procedure for
got it.
fulfilling orders,
Right.
or setting up an email autoresponder to handle customer inquiries.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, or investing in software that automates tasks.
Like social media scheduling or bookkeeping. So it's about working smarter, not harder.
It is. It's about finding ways to automate things and delegate tasks.
So you're not doing everything yourself.
Exactly.
Because as your side hustle grows,
Uh-huh.
you're going to need to free up your time to focus on the bigger picture.
That's right.
So it's about building a business that can eventually run itself,
That's the dream.
even if you're not physically present,
Right.
which is the ultimate goal for a lot of entrepreneurs,
It is. To create a business that provides freedom and flexibility.
not just another full-time job.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how did Apprentice Diary do it?
Well, their story is a testament to consistency and perseverance.
Okay.
They started small, like experimenting with different ideas
Okay.
until they found something that worked.
That resonated with them.
And they were willing to put in the time and effort.
Yeah, it sounds like it wasn't an overnight success.
It wasn't. They had to work hard and learn new skills.
And adapt along the way.
Yeah, they were constantly learning and growing.
So it is possible to build a successful side hustle while balancing other commitments.
It is. It takes dedication, but it's definitely possible.
That's inspiring to hear. And it sounds like it's not always about having the perfect idea right away.
Right.
It's about being willing to experiment and learn as you go.
And to adapt your approach.
That's a great message.
It is.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly.
All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive.
We have.
We talked about specific side hustle strategies, the importance of job security and benefits,
Tips for balancing a side hustle with a full-time job.
and the power of building systems and passive income streams.
And we've highlighted the inspiring journey of Apprentice Diary.
Who built a six-figure side hustle while working a full-time job.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. I'm feeling really motivated to take action.
Me too.
But before we get ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
I think it's important to take a step back
Yeah.
and make sure we're starting from the right place.
Like, what do you mean?
So in the final part of our deep dive,
Okay.
we'll be exploring some key questions to ask yourself before launching a side hustle.
Oh, that's smart.
We'll talk about defining your goals,
Okay.
aligning your side hustle with your passions,
Mm,
and making sure you're setting yourself up for success.
both financially and personally.
So stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive,
I can't wait.
where we'll help you turn those side hustle dreams into a reality.
It's going to be good.
All right, so welcome back to our deep dive into the world of side hustles.
I'm ready to wrap things up.
Me too. We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But before we officially sign off,
Okay.
I think it's important to take a step back and consider some key questions to ask yourself.
Before launching into the side hustle world,
Exactly, because we've talked about all the exciting stuff.
the passion, the potential, the freedom.
But it's also important to be realistic.
Right. And make sure you're going into this with your eyes wide open.
Okay, so let's start with the most basic question.
Why?
Why do you want to start a side hustle?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your motivation?
It might seem obvious, but it's worth really thinking about your reasons.
Because if you don't know why you're doing something,
It's hard to stay motivated.
especially when things get tough.
Exactly.
So are you looking for a creative outlet?
Uh-huh.
Do you want to earn extra income?
Maybe you're hoping to build a business that could eventually replace your full-time job.
It's about getting clear on what you're hoping to achieve.
Exactly.
Once you understand your why,
Then you can start to think about what kind of side hustle would be the best fit.
right, for your skills, interests, and lifestyle.
Exactly. It's not about chasing trends.
Or doing what everyone else is doing.
It's about finding something that you're genuinely excited about.
Something that aligns with your passions.
Yes. Passion is so important.
It is. It's what will keep you going when you face challenges.
Because you will face challenges.
It's inevitable.
Apprentice Diary talked about how their passion for their side hustle
Yeah.
was what kept them going when things got tough.
They also talked about aligning your side hustle with your values.
Oh, yeah, that's important too.
So it's not just about making money.
It's about doing something that feels meaningful.
Something that you believe in.
Exactly. And it makes decision-making so much easier.
Because you're not constantly second-guessing yourself.
Right.
You know what you stand for.
You know what you're working towards.
Okay, so we've talked about the why,
Yeah.
the passion, the values.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the practical side of things.
It's okay, the logistics.
How much time and energy?
Can you realistically dedicate to this?
That's a good question. Because it's easy to overcommit.
It is, especially when you're excited about a new project.
But you got to be honest with yourself about your capacity.
And set realistic expectations. Because if you try to do too much too soon,
Yeah.
you're going to burn out.
And you might give up altogether.
Exactly.
So maybe you can only dedicate a few hours a week right now.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You can start small and gradually increase your commitment.
As you gain momentum,
It's about finding a pace that you can sustain.
that works for you and your lifestyle.
Right.
And it's important to remember that building a successful side hustle takes time.
It does. It's not going to happen overnight.
You have to be patient.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, now let's talk about money.
All right, show me the money.
Starting a side hustle can require some upfront costs,
It can, for sure.
whether it's for equipment, software
Yeah.
marketing.
Or even just your time.
So be realistic about those costs.
And make sure you're not putting yourself in a bad financial situation.
Right. Do you have some savings you can use?
Are you willing to cut back on other expenses?
It's about being smart with your money. It is.
Uh,
And make sure you're not taking on more than you can handle.
Right.
We've talked a lot about financial preparedness,
Well, yeah,
and it's just as important for side hustlers as it is for full-time entrepreneurs.
absolutely. And remember, it might take some time for your side hustle to actually become profitable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you need a plan for covering your expenses.
Yeah. Like until your business takes off.
Exactly. Until it's generating consistent income.
And that's where having a support network can be really helpful too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Having friends, family, other entrepreneurs.
People who get it,
Exactly. People who understand the ups and downs of starting a business.
they can offer support, encouragement,
And advice?
expertise.
Yeah. Like, if you need help with marketing or finance,
Or legal stuff.
you don't have to do it all alone.
There are people out there who can help you.
People who've been there.
Exactly. So we've talked a lot about the practical side of starting a side hustle,
The nuts and bolts.
but let's not forget about the mental and emotional aspects.
Oh, yeah. Those are important, too.
It's not always easy,
It's not. It can be exciting and fulfilling.
but it can also be stressful and challenging.
Definitely be prepared for the roller coaster of emotions.
Highs and lows.
The doubts, the triumphs.
That's a lot to handle.
And it's easy to get discouraged when things aren't going as planned.
Or when you're facing rejection.
Or setbacks.
That's where resilience comes in.
Yeah, you got to be able to bounce back from challenges,
And keep moving forward.
even when it feels tough.
I think that's one of the most valuable skills an entrepreneur can have.
It is, because it's not always going to be easy.
There will be times when you want to give up.
But you got to keep going.
Believe in yourself,
And your vision,
even when others might doubt you.
that's the key.
And remember, failure is not the opposite of success.
It's part of the process.
It's about learning from your mistakes.
And getting back up stronger.
So to our listener out there who's dreaming of launching their own side hustle,
We say go for it.
embrace the challenge.
You got this.
You have the power to create something amazing.
This is your journey.
Take your time.
Trust your instincts.
Build something you're proud of.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's great advice.
Ah.
And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of side hustles.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Me too. Thanks for listening.
And good luck with your side hustle journey.
Until next time, keep diving deep and make sure you're not taking on more than you can handle. We've talked a lot about financial preparedness, and it's just as important for side hustlers as it is for full-time entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. And remember, it might take some time for your side hustle to actually become profitable. So
Yeah.
you need a plan for covering your expenses until your business takes off.
Like until your business takes off.
Exactly. Until it's generating consistent income. And that's where having a support network can be really helpful too. Having friends, family, other entrepreneurs.
People who get it.
Exactly. People who understand the ups and downs of starting a business. They can offer support, encouragement,
Advice.
expertise. Like if you need help with marketing or finance,
Or legal stuff.
you don't have to do it all alone.
There are people out there who can help you. People who've been there.
Exactly.
So we've talked a lot about the practical side of starting a side hustle. The nuts and bolts.
But let's not forget about the mental and emotional aspects.
Oh, yeah. Those are important, too. It's not always easy. It can be exciting and fulfilling.
But it can also be stressful and challenging.
Definitely. Be prepared for the roller coaster of emotions.
The highs and lows, the doubts, the triumphs.
It's a lot to handle.
And it's easy to get discouraged when things aren't going as planned or when you're facing rejection.
Or setbacks. That's where resilience comes in.
Yeah, you got to be able to bounce back from challenges.
And keep moving forward, even when it feels tough.
Exactly.
I think that's one of the most valuable skills an entrepreneur can have.
It is, because it's not always going to be easy.
There will be times when you want to give up.
But you got to keep going. Believe in yourself and your vision.
Even when others might doubt you.
That's the key.
And remember, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the process. It's about learning from your mistakes.
And getting back up stronger.
So, to our listener out there who's dreaming of launching their own side hustle, we say, go for it.
Embrace the challenge.
You have the power to create something amazing.
This is your journey. Take your time. Trust your instincts. Build something you're proud of. And don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's great advice. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of side hustles. Thanks for listening. Until next time, keep diving deep.
So, that was today's episode of my Side Hustle Weekend podcast. For everyone listening, if you're ready to take action on what you learned today, here's where you can find more resources. First, head over to sidehustleweekend.com. I've put together detailed guides, templates, and case studies. And while you are there, don't miss out on my free newsletter, Side Hustle Weekend. If you found value in today's discussion, hit that like button and subscribe to join our Weekend Hustlers community. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our episodes where we break down more side hustle strategies. Check the description below for all the tools and resources we mentioned today. Remember, everyone's journey starts with a single step. Whether you're looking to make an extra $500 a month or build something bigger, start with what you learned today and take action. So, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode where we'll break down another practical way to grow your income.